Yo, Yanaka for you when I pop by the body of Jumidi. Jumiza ya tabara yese na ya tunzim no kwa ni shumezi. No kwa ni shumezi. Ende Yesu kunu do a yanyi je ho komo. Oye da pani ene dwume ku batan a wo ya da fa ni na goti won da. Na dwume ku a oye organized labor wo Ghana nso zi wanda otada manana. Na oye the TEC General Secretary Opening Goshuansa zi organized labor honini zi wini ma sam chuga na yin de omani mu adikwa wa baya hokase adisuje ama man Ghana no zi omani Ghana nya ni ewu onini fo me gudu tuya wonnam chishapa ni kwanpado na wodi tu na wa say yene sutina ho a owo oman Ghana the mara na wa say yene kwa ahoro na wa say no budu say yene sase a dachi yanye ahwe ya nsu idiban ho bayedzem ti ban kom nsu kom besi oman Ghana no wa ya how dagin zi amo biara wo oman Ghana Metimomofo esu akasa manu mba akasa etia afa ho ma sweda ban abako aban abako wetu wana mon na one prayer ni transi nanso wentu His Excellency the former president Akufo-Addo so man Ghana ma bode obusumesia Zishapa Bugakum na Galamsey Minyama Ozi Nima Ozi Omani Ghana Wetu Wabra Nanase Nanso Ayo Wasamye Nwasi Sama Owen Yebe Busume Siana former president Nana Adedanko Akufo-Addo Etu Hode Enyimizi Enyima Momu Papa Muda binti biya na mampenyin Mahama sigwadere ni ose oye incompetent no ya competent magana fonya konya to about the man the competence no yin zina yin also were the men and the women the competent men and women the self-acclaimed competent former president Nana Adedanko Akufo-Addo asked Ghanaians and legitimate small-scale miners to lay down their tools for 6 months to regularize the sector, to deal with the destruction that Galamsey has caused the Ghanaian environment. Our rivers, arable lands, National Forest Reserve, were under serious threats at the hands of illegal mining. So His Excellency, the former president Nana Adedanko Akufo-Addo, the self-acclaimed competent Nana Adedanko Akufo-Addo, requested 6 months from Ghanaians and especially legitimate small-scale miners to lay down their tools for him to regularize the sector. But as we all live in this country, the sad aspect of it, at the end of his first year, 4 years, he failed woefully. Ghanaians, as they are, renewed his mandate, gave him a second term, with the hope that His Excellency, the self-acclaimed competent Nana Adedanko Akufo-Addo, would have done something good, something appreciable that the Ghanaian citizens can point to when we talk about the menace of Galamsey. But 8 solid years, Nana Adedanko Akufo-Addo failed this country. Every institution, citizens, recognized institutions in Ghana cried against the wanton destruction of Galamsey in Ghana, and His Excellency, the former President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, did not hear those cries. Even though former President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo placed his presidency online, one would have thought he would have worked hard so long as he placed his presidency on it, vowed to fight and end the destruction of Galamsey. Not knowing, he only gave us sweet words and he went to bed. Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the self-acclaimed competent president, went to bed, even though he placed his presidency online, that he will fight and he will end Galamsey. He got to a point, organized labor joined the cry, and looking at the sheer number of organized labor, Ghanaians had hope that at least organized labor joining the cry, former President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo would finally pay heed, will listen. Sadly, disappointedly, Joshua Ansah, the TUC General Secretary, His Excellency, the former President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, called organized labor leadership into a meeting, and we didn't know what happened. After we came out of the meeting, organized labor leadership chickened out of the fight against Galamsey. Listen and listen carefully. Organized labor, under the leadership of Joshua Ansah, an old man who ought to know better, chickened out, led organized labor to chicken out of the fight against Galamsey to give Nana Addo Akufo-Addo the freedom. But you see, just this first May, that same Joshua Ansah turned round to blame the current president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for failing to end Galamsey in 5 months, even though Mahama's presidency has not yet crossed 5 months. But we want to remind our viewers and listeners, we have decided to title today's presentation as Discredited Sycophants, Disorganized Labor Leadership chickened out of Galamsey fight under Akufo-Addo, shamefully to turn round to accuse Mahama not ending Galamsey in 4 months. This is the title for today's presentation. Discredited sycophant, disorganized labor leadership chickened out of Galamsey fight under Akufo-Addo, shamefully to turn round to accuse Mahama not ending Galamsey in 4 months. Let us go and listen to Joshua Ansah, and we'll come back to express our views. Take a listen to him.
We had a discussion. We said by the 10th of October, if nothing has been done, there will be a nationwide strike. The president discussed the issues with us, our demands with us, and what he's able to do is what he's told us, and it's written vividly on this paper. That is all. That when we met the president on the 3rd, we deliberated on the issues, our demands of which you're all aware. What we came out with is this, that the government will collaborate with organized labor and the stakeholders in the fight against Galamsey. Number 2, the government will take steps when Parliament reconvenes this month to revoke the environmental protection, that is the Mining and in Forest Reserve Regulation 2023 LI 2462. Again, government would ramp up its enforcement measures, particularly prohibiting the mining in water bodies and forest areas. For the Attorney General will collaborate with the Chief Justice to set up courts dedicated to deal with prosecutions of illegal mining. Then the Attorney General will again collaborate with the Chief Justice to ensure swift adjudication of illegal mining. Then government supports the call for all presidential candidates to sign a pact committing to the fight against illegal mining. And the last paragraph says that government reiterates its commitment to the fight against illegal mining and calls on all stakeholders to join the fight. President has never requested for any time. When I hear the president saying that, I don't know where that statement is coming from.
Right.
President had the discussions with us, and this is the outcome. He did not request for even a day. He only discussed the issue with us and directed that these demands or this how do you call it? What these steps that the government is going to be taking should be written to us. That has been done correctly. The president has not said anything. We had a discussion. We said by the 10th of October, if nothing has been done, there will be a nationwide strike. The president discussed the issues with us, our demands with us, and what he's able to do is what he's told us, and it's written vividly on this paper. That is all.
We have deliberately allowed our viewers to watch and listen to what the TUC General Secretary then, under former President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, that meeting that they had at the time, Ghanaians were calling, fighting government to do everything possible to end the destruction of Galamsey. The way Galamsey has destroyed our rivers, water bodies in this country, the forests, the arable lands, that it became a cry across the length and breadth of the country. When organized labor got on board, raised the hope of Ghanaians, because those who were demonstrating, putting pressure on the then former president, the self-acclaimed Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the competent president, who told Ghanaians he had competent men and women to address our governance issue. When the youth were on the streets fighting, putting pressure on government to end the illegal mining and its destruction on the environment, some of the youth were incarcerated, they were arrested, put behind bars beyond the mandated 48 hours. When organized labor got on board, that Ghanaians felt that at least now that organized labor has joined, His Excellency, the self-acclaimed former president, the self-acclaimed competent former president, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, called the organized labor leadership into a meeting. After that closed-door meeting, the leadership of organized labor, Joshua Ansah, an old man, Joshua Ansah, who that was the first statement that he gave to the good people of Ghana. The discredited, dishonest, sycophant, hypocrite TUC General Secretary Joshua Ansah led his leadership, the organized labor leadership, to chicken out of the fight against Galamsey. That was what he told the good people of Ghana when they met Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. And now he was outlining the issues government has agreed upon to put in place. But you see, Ghanaians, that was when, or that was the day, Ghanaians lost hope in the leadership of organized labor, especially the TUC General Secretary Joshua Ansah. That old man, discredited, sycophant, dishonest Joshua Ansah, the TUC General Secretary. Now, just this week, 1st May, the Workers' Day, let us listen to what Joshua Ansah said at their gathering. Then we will come back to address him. Just take a listen.
It's increased. Mr. President, we expect you to provide leadership in stopping the menace of Galamsey. Expect your government to immediately revoke, not amend, Legislative Instrument 2462. Remember, organized labor has a letter from your predecessor suspending the LI 2462. Pending its revocation, LI stands as a legal doorway through which reckless mining activities are taking root in ecological sensitive areas. We urge your administration, Mr. President, to take decisive action to close this chapter and lead a new approach that prioritizes environmental protection and responsible land use. Mr. President, we in organized labor are surprised that 5 months into your reign, the Galamsey menace is getting worse. The destruction of our environments, including our forests and water bodies, is increasing with rapidity. Mr. President, we expect you to provide leadership in stopping the menace of Galamsey. We expect your government to immediately revoke, not amend, Legislative Instrument 2462. Remember, organized labor has a letter from your predecessor suspending the LI 2462. Pending its revocation, LI stands as a legal doorway through which reckless mining activities are taking root in ecological sensitive areas. We urge your administration, Mr. President, to take decisive action to close this chapter and lead a new approach that prioritizes environmental protection and responsible land use.
You just heard Joshua Ansah, the General Secretary of the TUC, who presented the organized labor speech, an aspect of it, that at that forum, he was bold to call on the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. They are disappointed in him, and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama should show leadership, should take a decisive action to end Galamsey. That they are disappointed that he has not been able to end Galamsey in 5 months. Come on, listen to Joshua Ansah. Was he listening to himself when he was reading their speech on Workers' Day? This is the bitter truth. Take it or leave it. Such an ingrate leader, such a discredited leader, Joshua Ansah. Joshua Ansah, such a sycophant, such hypocrites as a leader. This is what the bitter truth we are calling Joshua Ansah. Joshua Ansah is saying what? That the president, John Dramani Mahama, they are disappointed that he has not been able to end Galamsey in 5 months. Just listen, Joshua Ansah, you are a discredited leader. If this is the kind of leadership that the organized labor is giving the members, then I think that there is a lot that ought to be addressed. This is the reason this platform, the Bitter Truth, we are referring to TUC General Secretary Joshua Ansah, who read the statement on behalf of the organized labor on Workers' Day that he is a discredited organized labor. And this is the reason why we have titled today's presentation as well, Disorganized Labor Leadership. He is very, very confused. He is more than the word confused. Probably, maybe he is on red. Maybe Joshua Ansah is on red. So he doesn't even know what he was saying. He wasn't listening to himself. Asking John Dramani Mahama to show leadership, that they are disappointed that he has not been able to end Galamsey in 5 months. Really? Listen, Joshua Ansah. This government was inaugurated on the 7th of January. And at the time you were addressing the workers' union and the president, charging or telling that you are disappointed that the president has not been able to end Galamsey in 5 months. If you take 7th January to 1st May, is that 5 months? Hello, discredited, sycophants, dishonest, disgraceful TUC General Secretary Joshua Ansah. Is it 5 months? From 7th January, a government that has been inaugurated, or a government that was inaugurated on the 7th January, and you address the government on 1st May, is that 5 months? You are a discredited leader. Thus is the bitter truth that you are watching. You said Mahama should demonstrate leadership. Every honest leader, the meeting that they had with the former president, the self-acclaimed competent Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the things that he told us that he agreed on to put in place, if you were honest leader, if you were a competent leader, if you were a sensible leader, you would have been telling Ghanaians those agreements that you had with the former president, the self-acclaimed Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. How many of those agreements that the former president Nana Addo Akufo-Addo was able to achieve, how many of them was he able to put in place that point to the fight against Galamsey? Sabi saya bajumba okendinia, saya bajumba okendini mukwafa enche za ozi kanda ayanyide ikache ganafo workers in the labor union, the members of the organized labor there. Yenny former president Nana Addo Akufo-Addo ko sheminin za okada oba yenenen wetumaye akon again ebasa anan enum esene de otumenye iyi kuntapa nche all buzi magana fo onam dan yi nyanse ya bagin da yintini sabe aya hypocrite nyatwum Joshua Ansah onam na ya nyatwum ntini entuman kan chegana fo sabe Jumija aikani ya mkwalwin za ya kanide nche ya nokofo kendinia nche ya bajumba na nyenya atwum ana wa shawoma nche beka che organized labor members in there yenni former president Nana Addo Akufo-Addo ko share nenen nche say ya odi tumiye otumiye ako ebien ebasa anan enemu di tumaye nanche ejinado ebisa omanpanyin awodo omanpanyin John Dramani Mahama de we predecessor Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo when you say in summer in Shishaya Adi Tumbe Abani Nebayeni Onanda Monguzen Chiabini Tinina or 2 years Ako Ebene Basa anan enime se no djuma nye nti enyiza yakitwe fi wada wo so ba ye ana ba ye bani onam na ye nya atwini ni nyanse nti ne onam de enye kenzi papa nti ne no kenzi ni wa fa nti ne sebe ehwenyim ga sesama na ere kanana. You are a disgrace. The General Secretary for the TUC who read a speech on behalf of organized labor. This is the reason we, the bitter truth, we are saying that look, you are a discredited, disorganized labor leadership. You are ungrateful. Every or any sensible leader, any honest and intelligent leader, what the bitter truth were expecting to have heard, the account we're expecting to hear from Joshua Ansa would have been that when we had a meeting with the former president Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and we agreed on 1, 2, 3, 4. Former president Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in the fight against Galamsey, he was able to achieve A, B, C, D, E, and F. He couldn't achieve it. Therefore, calling on His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President, also to continue those issues that former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo failed to institute, to implement in order to address the issue of Galamsey destruction. That was because the environment, because you are a discredited leader, because you are a hypocrite leader, because of your sycophancy, you failed to tell Ghanaians and you were demanding that John Dramani should show leadership. You are disappointed that he has not been able to end or the fight against Galamsey in 5 months. At the time, even the government has not spent 5 months. You are a disgrace. The TUC General Secretary Joshua Ansa, you are a disgrace. This is bitter truth. Take it or leave it. This show is the bitter truth. You are an intelligent leader. You are dishonest leader. You are discredited leader. And this is the reason the bitter truth platform, we are describing you as disorganized labor leadership. The show you are watching is the bitter truth show. I want you to listen to him once again. Take a listen.
It's increasing with rapidity. Mr. President, we in organized labor are surprised that 5 months into your reign, the Galamsey menace is getting worse. The destruction of our environments, including our forests and water bodies, is increasing with rapidity. Mr. President, we expect you to provide leadership in stopping the menace of Galamsey. We expect your government to immediately revoke, not amend, Legislative Instrument 2462. Remember, organized labor has a letter from your predecessor suspending the LI 2462. Pending its revocation, LI stands as a legal doorway through which reckless mining activities are taking root in ecological sensitive areas. We urge your administration, Mr. President, to take decisive action to close this chapter and lead a new approach that prioritizes environmental protection and responsible.
The bigger truth we are saying that Joshua Ansa, the General Secretary for the Trade Union Congress, who presented a speech on behalf of the organized labor, if you had any credibility, you should have been telling your members at the time that we chicken out under Akufo-Addo, when Ghanaians were to end the Galamsey, when he called you into a meeting, you came out of the meeting and called off the strike. That was the day that Ghanaian citizens lost confidence and hope in the organized labor leadership. Under Joshua Ansah, you are a discredited, you are a hypocrite, an unintelligent leader. If these are the kind of leadership that would spare the affairs of organized labor, then organized labor has a long way to go. The members of organized labor should even impeach you and remove you from office because you are a disappointment. Let truth be told. They say truth is bitter. It's like bitter pill. Remember, the show you are watching is a bitter pill. We have been able to tell organized labor members why former president, the self-acclaimed competent president Nana Akufo-Addo, failed to revoke the legislative instruments 2462 million. You should have been able to inform Ghanaians and the world why Nana failed to do that. We are talking about President Mahama should show leadership. Do you understand leadership, Vishansa? Looking at your posture and what you did, do you really understand leadership? Do you know what leadership is? What kind of leadership are you providing? The Trade Union Congress and the organized labor. You are a disgrace. Just listen to Abraham Pinson, the General Secretary for the Federation of Workers. Listen.
If you look at their program, the lady who prayed for the start of the program, and even the Galamsey thing that we said. Galamsey 8 good years. What did we do? And 4-5 men in office, and we are giving caution, threatening. I don't know the other again. If the TC want to be annexed to NPP head office, okay, they can go ahead and do that. But we will not be part of it.
I mean, are you suggesting that the comments that were made by the TUC boss were politically motivated? Is that what I get you to be suggesting? Because I'm not too sure. I appreciate the reference to the MPP head office that you make.
I was there. I was at work. If you look at their program, the lady who prayed for the start of the program prayed political prayer. He prayed and at the same time urging the president to do this and that and all sort of things. Prayed, I think there's a man. Prayed, he did that. Then the one who did the introduction of the he also was doing it with some political, tone. And everything that happened there, I said, what forum is this? Is this organized forum or is it TUC forum? So they made up everything there, and I think either I walked out from there, but like I said, I have created a team. Whatever was presented there, it represents the TUC's position, not organized labor, as far as Congress are concerned, because DFL is a critical stakeholder. And if the TUC doesn't take care, we have given them up to the end of this month. We will drive them to court to challenge their mandate to mount a platform and speak the way they speak. We challenge it. We challenge their mandate. That's it. They like they go.
You have heard Abraham Pinson, the General Secretary for the Federation of Workers, disagreeing with what you said during that gathering. That look, it was not a forum for Trade Union Congress, but for Christ's sake, it was for organized labor. Vishansa, did you hear what Abraham Pinson is saying? The disgrace that you brought to the members of organized labor, the hypocrisy, the discredited leadership that you provided, you are a disgrace. And this is what the bitter truth we are saying. Leaders like your work give reasons and room for people to use unprintable words on you. This is the bitter truth. Listen.
Continua. The fight against Galamsey is a complex one, and when I was vying for the presidency, I did not kid myself that when I come into office, I will win that fight in 4 months. Yet, we will not give up. Our gallant men of the armed forces and security services are up to the fight and will continue to score successes against the selfish companies and individuals who are destroying our forests and polluting our water bodies. As far as the fight against Galamsey is concerned, I say, aluta continua.
On that His Excellency the President John Dramani Mahama gave, that he admits the fight is not an easy fight, but reminded you that his government has not spent or crossed 5 months. He is still in his 4th month. As we speak, the time he made the statement was 1st, and on the 7th of May, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's governance will be 4 months. But because of your hypocrisy, because of your dishonesty, you could not even get the man. He said 5 months. You are a disgrace. Shame unto you. Organized labor must impeach you if they have credibility. Because we are saying, this platform, the bitter we are saying that if this is the kind of leadership that you are offering organized labor in Ghana, then organized labor has a long way to go. You are a disgrace. And this is the reason we have titled today's presentation as Discredit the Show You Are Watching is the Bitter Truth.